Hello, 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 everyone. How are you doing? We are here, and I am ready to rock and roll. How is everyone doing? I am doing well. I am ready for this call. I'm ready for this training. And today I have a pretty awesome topic that we're going to cover. And it comes right out of the mentorship program where we could kind of see like, we want to give specific trainings and specific topics, and we've been seeing this topic come on over and over again. And it's always something that is constantly something I'm working on. So I think of like, and some of my advanced strategies of like, how do we pre-screen? So the conversation is pre-screening. How do we pre-screen our deals, and how does that work, and what makes it work, and what doesn't make it work? And I just want to be able to give some great content and some great value on that. So let's just dive right into it. Let me just get this thing started here. Display. So let me just shut this down. So let me just get myself started here. So in pre-screening, why is pre-screening so important? Like the basis of our program here of the coaching is so that you actually go do deals. Like the name of the game is go do deals. So we want to make sure that you are going out there and doing deals. So, and part of getting deals done, you are going to be speaking to human beings through the process. So when you're speaking to human beings, you got to know what to say and how to say it. So we want to, this part of this training here is to help you with that. Help you with that. So, and we'll also be answering some questions. And if you have questions, we are more than happy to answer that is on this deal maker training. So, all right. So we have Zach and Anelli here. So we are going to go live. And I'm going to just right now, I'm going to talk about pre-screening sellers. Let's talk about pre-screening. Hello, hello, hello. Pre-screen. So let's see the slide here. Take a peek. Take a peek. I'm going to show you my screen. It's there. All right. Let's see. Hello, slide. So this is right out of the mentorship training process. This is on call 2. We're going to go right into section 2, which is pre-screening the sellers. So in the pre-screening the sellers, why is that important? Is because we want to make sure that a lot of times people are a little apprehensive in talking to a new person. They're talking to a seller, and they're a little concerned to not looking bad and wanting to feel like they're doing the right thing and also know what they're talking about. I think the most important piece where people get stuck is they don't want to look bad, which, to be honest, that falls into the personal development world. I took a lot of years of personal development training so that I could get over the story that might be living in my head. Oh, Jason has to be right, and he has to know what he's saying all the time, and he doesn't want to look like a fool. Oh my God, if I look like a fool, they're not going to sell me the house. Or even worse, they're going to just think I'm stupid. And then that goes into an old story that I might have had when I was a kid. And everybody has, well, not everybody. People tend to have those stories, and they make them way bigger than they really are. So I just shut it down, and I know this. I'm coming to the table with being able to help someone. That's where my mind and my heart is from. I'm here to come and help you. And that doesn't mean that I'm here to be perfect. That doesn't mean that every word that comes out of my mouth is perfect. What it does mean is that I can help someone that needs to sell houses. I cannot help everyone, and I don't want to help everyone. What do I mean by that? Is that some deals I can't help them in. Some of them, they want help, and that means help me and give me more than what the property is worth. I don't want to help that. I can't help that. So I'm looking for the right situations that we can be of massive value to them. And again, I don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect. Just come from a caring heart, someone that is willing to help and is willing to move forward, help them move forward. So we are in section 2. Boom. Pre-screening sellers. So in pre-screening sellers, number 1, we want you to use a property information script. we have a few different versions of that. And I'm going to show you in a moment what ours looks like. And we have a 1.0 and a 2.0. We have a few different ones. And you'll get a little bit more in depth for how we actually use those on future trainings. We'll talk a little bit about it now too. I'll even mention it right now. So number one, the sheet that I'm about to show you is something that I use all the time. We have a secondary one. If you have a virtual assistant or somebody on your team, let's say they're out of the country and they don't tend to have a lot of paper and they want to do everything on the computer. So it's more of a question, and then they fill it out. It's on an Excel spreadsheet. So everyone has Excel for the most part, or something like that. And then they will fill out the question and then the answer, question and answer, and then they email it over to you. So, and then we have some other kinds of like rebuttal scripts and different things like that. So that's number one. Number two, we're going to show you how to go over the property, how to use the script properly. Number three, we always remember, connect with a human. There's sometimes even, like I've been doing this for 20 years and I might have been doing something else in the last day or two or three, or maybe I didn't get on the phone and have a conversation to buy, or I'm thinking something and I like fumble up a little bit. And I tell myself every time, and sometimes it's not, I don't want you to have a hallucination that Jason gets on and I'm like utter perfection every time. I'm not. But I refocus myself and say, hey, I know I'm of value. All right, let me get back on track. And I'm like, and then I get back to the script and I'm like, boom. Then I go right into script. And I just remember, that leads me to number three. I just remember, connect with the human. They are a human being that is looking to connect with someone and that is looking to sell their property. 30% of them, write this down, 30% of them must sell. Not that they would like to sell. It'd be nice to sell. If I get the right price, I would sell. No, 30% of them, they must absolutely sell. That's a great stat that gives you should help to build some confidence. Am I talking to one of the 30% that needs to sell and that I could be of value and they're willing to sell at a discount where I can make some kind of money? So just connect with them. It's okay to fumble. It's okay that you word and then you get back on track with the script. It's okay. Number four, ask proper questions. We're going to talk about some of the questions that you're going to ask, and you see how powerful these questions are. And number five, go over the common questions and rebuttals. So we'll have some rebuttals and things of that nature to go over. So let's move on. So here's the property information sheet, and everyone should have a copy of this inside your teamwork in the file section. And if you don't have it there and you need a copy of this property information sheet, please let us know. And so what we're going to come and do is we're going to break down this sheet. This is the full size. I'm going to, whoops. I went backwards. Sorry. There you go. Backwards and forwards and backwards and backwards and forwards. I said we're going to have fun. Well, fun. All right. So let's go to the top. There you go. Property information sheet. Number one, the source. So right here, we fill out the source. Source means where did they hear about us? The county. What county is in it? What's the date? This ABC is something you're going to fill out at the end of it. And you're going to put a big A on the top, a B, or a C. And a lot of times how we rate that is that A is a seller that is ready to sell right now. The conversation went well. You're setting up the appointment and you're moving forward, or you need to set up just the very next call. They're very hot. It's like 80% an appointment to the property. And looks like you can put something together. A B, you might have to follow up 2 or 3 calls, but they were very interested. The conversation went well. That's what we would mark a B. On a C is this, they were just kind of either getting some information and they just, they want to sell, but maybe they want full price. They're not as motivated. They don't fall into the top 30% of the people that need to sell. Maybe they're in the 60%. And so I put them on a C. We put them in a follow-up process. Oh, everybody goes in follow-up, everybody. And then the D is don't call me. I don't want to sell. Done. So for the most part, it's ABC. So then we go to the name. And they just out of curiosity, and I use this a lot, just out of curiosity. So, hi, Bob. My name is, they call, so these are people, usually people that are calling me, whether I sent a direct mail, a postcard, a yellow letter, I use this on everybody, to be honest, everybody that's selling. So then we fill out the ad. Can I get the address of the property? Great. What's the city? What's the zip? And, oh, by the way, can I get your phone number just in case we get disconnected? Why do I want the cell? I want the cell so I can call them back if we get disconnected. And number two, I can send text messages to them because the text messages land, 98% of the people receive their text messages. Unlike emails is probably about 70% or less, something inside there, depending what email address they gave you. Is it their primary? Is it their junk email address? Is that one they check every once a month? Then I go into the reasons for selling, just out of curiosity. Why are you looking to sell? And they'll tell us the reason that they're looking to sell. Usually, the reason that they're usually looking to sell is you have to go 3 levels deep on why they would sell. So, okay. Oops, sorry. The reason that they want to sell, we have to go about 3 levels deep. And that may be like, all right, so why are you looking to sell? Oh, I just want some, I just want to get out of the property. Oh, great. Are you moving someplace? Are you doing something? And they're like, well, yeah, actually I'm planning on moving to Georgia. Oh, okay, great. Why are you moving to Georgia? You have family or friends? I heard it's nice in Georgia. So I start connecting with the human and finding out what's going on and why, and to understand. And then you find out they're going to Georgia because, they are just about to retire and they only have one child, and that one child is, they had a kid, and now they have a grandkid, and they're up in, whatever part of the state that they live in, and they want to connect and be closer to the family. So the reason why they're selling is not because they want money, not because they just want to sell, is because they really want to get closer to the family. So we want to know that, so that when we make our offer, it's not about, here's the offer for the house. Here's the offer so that you can get closer to your family and spend amazing time with your grandchildren, because that's what was important to them. So next, we ask, is the property vacant? Is the property vacant? And no, are they living in it? So you might say, tell me a little bit about it. Well, I live in the property with my wife, and it's just us two. The property is big, so that it's not vacant. You don't need to ask that. Just listen, active listening. How long have you lived there? The reason why I ask a lot of times how long have they lived there is because it will help us to understand later on some of the repairs that they might have done or not done. So if they lived there for 15 years, you'll see when we get to the repair section. So what else? Is the property listed? Well, no, the property is not listed. Or yes, it is. For how much and how long? How's that been going? How's the traction been? I go right into it. There's no hiding on it. Like, yeah. So how many people have come to the property? What have they been saying about the property? So it's been 6 months and it hasn't sold. Why do you think it hasn't sold? And we have conversations, connect with the human there. Is the property rented? Well, if they're living in it, not. When do they plan on moving? Well, they might say, well, we already moved, or we're moving in 3 weeks. Oh, do you already have a house? Yes, we have a house already. We already bought it. Great. So they probably don't need the money from this house. They want the money from this house, but they probably don't need all the money from this house if they already bought the second house. Aha. So how many bedrooms and bathrooms? I asked a question and I kind of guide the conversation, let them talk. I asked a question, guide it, let them talk. I asked the question, guide them, let them talk. And I keep on bouncing around and letting them talk. Let the talk. People like to talk. I like to listen and do active listening. I write it down. How many bedrooms and bathrooms? 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 2-car garage. Has a pool. How much are the taxes? Oh, the taxes are blah, blah, blah. They'll tell me the taxes. Can you tell me about the property, like from the outside? What's it made out of? I'm trying to, and right there, I say, I'm trying to get a visual image of what the house looks like, because obviously I haven't seen it, but I am interested. And they say, well, the outside is made out of brick and it's a 2-story. The property is, and I'll come and I'll ask, does it have a basement? Oh yeah, it has a basement. And we have a pool table down there, and we have, a bathroom down there. So I'm assuming that it's finished. If they have a pool table, I may ask, is it finished or unfinished? I'll ask the question. So just be okay with asking. Then we go back to, might the house need any repairs? And I used to say, what kind of repairs might the house need? Or what kind of repairs does the house need? And people they just got offended. It's like, excuse me, what do you mean? What kind of repairs does the house need? And the property doesn't need any repairs. And they were like, and all of a sudden I broke rapport. So that's when I started putting, what kind of repairs might the house need? And they'll say, well, it needs a little this, the kitchen, the bathroom, or we have some loose tiles, or the house doesn't need any repairs sometimes. And what do they mean? There's a difference between repairs and the house being dated and being able to sell for prime money, or that the consumer wants their house. So how do we create a visual image of that? Well, we said, let's say they lived in the property for 15 years. We started asking some questions just out of curiosity. When was the last time have you ever replaced the roof? Well, no, I haven't replaced the roof. So we know the roof is 15 years old. Now I'm going to pause here and say, hey, in pre-screening, every part of the house has a life expectancy. The roof, 15 years. Electrical, maybe 20. And with today's time, probably a little less. Why? Because if the house had an electrical panel done 30 years ago, we have so many electronics and there's so much amperage being used, it probably needs an upgrade. If the carpets are 3 years, they need new ones. Bathrooms, 10 years. Kitchens, 15 years. Exterior paint, 3 years. Interior paint, 1 year. Windows, 10 years. Doors might be a little bit longer, maybe 15 years. Pools, 15 years. Central AC, 10 years. So we know those types of things. So when I go and I say, what kind of repairs might the house need? They say nothing. I says, great. When was the last time you changed the roof? Well, we haven't had to. We haven't had any problems with it. So 15 years. I already know that is at the end of the life of that roof. Have you done any electrical upgrading to the panel or anything? Well, no. All right. That I got to figure that out. When was the last time you changed the carpet? How old was the carpet? The carpet, well, we changed it about 2 years ago. Okay, the carpet might be okay. Have you done any renovations to the bathroom or the kitchen? Well, we did the bathroom, it's 2 bathrooms. We did the master probably when we first moved in. That's 15 years ago. Maybe. And the other one, it didn't really need anything, so we didn't change it. So which means probably, code word, it might be dated. Especially if you know that the house was built in the 1940s. And it says, what does it say? Year built. We would put 1940. So if he didn't do it, probably the person before it, they might have, if they didn't change it as soon as they sold it, that bathroom is probably very old. So we're getting now a very visual inside there. So then I'll come to the kitchen. Have you ever changed the kitchen? No. Just out of curiosity, is it the original kitchen when you bought maybe when they bought it? Well, yeah, probably is the original kitchen. So it's a 1940 kitchen. Do we need a new kitchen? Yes. Exterior paint. When was the last time you painted? Well, I painted about 3 years ago. Great. Or they say it's vinyl siding. Okay, great. So I may not need that. What about the inside? When was the last time we painted the inside? They say, well, the inside, we painted that about 2 years ago. Okay. So maybe not so bad, especially when you know that the only person they already said in connecting with a human, me and my wife live there. So it may not need to be painted unless they're very heavy smokers. And they smoke inside the house. So, but if they say I live in the house with my 5 kids and the last time I painted was 2 years ago, I might need to paint. I don't know. Especially if they're smaller kids, maybe. We'll see. They like to write on the walls. Sometimes, not all of them. So the windows, when was the last time, did you replace any of the windows and the air conditioning system, central air? They're like, well, no, we never replaced any of the windows, but they work fine. And HVAC, never replaced that. And they lived there for 15 years. It's definitely on its last line or towards the end of its life. So now we're starting to get a visual picture of that. Great. And then we can add up what kind of estimated cost of repairs that it might need. So this house that all of a sudden they said needed nothing, you realize that it was built in 1940s, has an old kitchen, old carpets, needs a new roof, needs a new heating system. The windows may need some work. So now all of a sudden this house needs work, and it's not like $500 worth of work or $3,000 worth of work. It's more in the tens of thousands of dollars of work to be at the best, highest selling price. Will it still sell? Yeah, everything sells, but it's going to sell for a lot less. a lot less. And so just recapping everyone, we are right now talking about pre-screening. So if there's any questions on that, I'll be more than happy to answer some of those pre-screening questions. And just let me know. This is deal maker. So if you have any questions on deals, I'll jump into that too. But I figured as we're going and we're flowing, we'll talk about the property information sheet right here and pre-screening sellers. So let's see here. I'm going to turn me off there. Whoops. Oh, hi. Hello. I meant to just take me off the screen, and there we go. Boom. And there. So now we're scrolling down. Now we're going to go to the next slide. And the next slide, this is the second part of this page, this property information sheet. When we're the next part of the sheet says, now we asked about the property. Now we're asking, are you looking to sell the house? So now we're getting into some of the financial pieces. So this part right here, we're starting to get more. The first part was talking about the property stuff. Now we're talking about the financials of the property. So I like to start with easy questions. Tell me about the property. Tell me where we're going. Tell me what this looks like. And now we are asking some financials. So one of the first questions, are you looking to sell the house for what you owe on it? I love this question. I love it. Because the moment they say, yes, I am looking to sell the house for what I owe on the property, then you don't need to negotiate. It's done. The next question is, well, how much do you owe? When I learned that, I was like, that is genius. Am I looking to sell the house for what I owe on it? Yes, no. They say yes, boom, done. If they say yes, but I need some money, which tends to come out, how much is a little bit of money? And never ask, what are you asking for the property? Because here's what happens inside there. When you ask, and here I am going to stop for a second. When you ask the question, are you looking to sell the if you ask, how much do you want? They're thinking high. When we say, are you looking to sell the house for what you owe? They're thinking low. And if the next question, they say, no, I'm not looking to sell it for what I owe. Then I say, well, how close to what you owe would you sell it for? So I never want to start with the high. So I'm thinking like, if you owe 150,000, how close to the 150? So what I'm always trying to do is to get them to say how much I owe and then how much I'm going to get. And the reason why I'm setting that up is so that I can start to create some owner financing strategy inside there. Because a lot of times they'll say, I want $170,000. You're like, wow, that's a lot of money, $170,000. But what happens if you find out, hey, I owe 160, I want 170, but I want 160. I have to get, I owe 160, meaning they are only going to put $10,000 in their pocket, and they need that $10,000. The 30% that need to sell. I need that $10,000, number one, or I cannot make the payments on the property, number two. So they want debt relief. When they can't make the payments, what they want is debt relief. But you stop for a second and say, whoa, yeah, wait a second, $170,000 is huge money versus the $10,000. Shoot, $10,000, we could get that from a private lender. We could get that from put it on a credit card. We could do all kinds of stuff. We could get a partner for $10,000. We could do a lot of different things that we cannot do for $170,000. Especially when I first started, I knew I couldn't. So that's why we try to figure that out. And then from here, I know I got excited. It excites me because opportunity lives there. All right, let's go there. Boom. All right, back. So now we are you looking to sell the house? Yes or no? They say yes. Great. They say no. How close to what they owe? Asking price. This is how I ask for their asking price. If I could pay you all cash and close quickly, what is the least you would accept? So I'm not asking how much do you owe? How much you want? I'm asking if I could pay you all cash and close quickly, what is the least you would accept? And I ask that question even when I know that I'm probably going to go for split funding, meaning takeover payments. Right? So they say, well, I want $170,000. Great. How much do you think the property might be worth? Well, it might be worth $250,000 all fixed up, or I don't know, or You know, in today's time, you have to assume, I always assume that they have some insight, like they went on Zillow or something to pull some kind of comps. So I asked that. Great. And then I'll ask, just out of curiosity, how much do you owe on the property? 40% of the people will tell me right in the beginning. You'll have, let's say maybe about 50% will tell you right in the beginning. You're going to get another 20% that will never tell you at all, period. They don't care. And then you have another group of people that will say, well, why do you need to know that? Well, there's a few different ways on how I purchase properties. I purchase them cash. Sometimes we got to get a little creative depending on how much you might owe. I can see how I can give you your money as fast as I can. That's my answer. And they're like, okay, so, you know, I owe probably, and I say approximately, it doesn't have to be an exact, like, you know, and then they'll be like, well, like 160,000 probably. Got it. And you're asking, you said you would, the least you would sell it for was 170. They say, yes, 170. Got it. So in essence, then that's one way I break it down. So what you're really looking for is $10,000 net to you, something like that. They're like, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Got it. So if the property is worth 250 and they want 170, I know because of the deal analyzer that I cannot pay cash. It is a no cash deal. So that my only other strategy is to get creative by taking over the payments or doing something creative of that nature. So they tell me the balance. Just out of curiosity, how much is the payment? Well, the payment is, let's say the payment is $1,100. Great. Does that include taxes and insurance? Yes, it does. And then how much were the taxes? They say $4,000, and I would have wrote it on the top of the page. And I'm like, all right, so $1,100. Why do I write that down? Why do I want to know the taxes insurance inside there? Because my exit strategy later is to actually probably sell it via owner finance. So I'm going to buy it via owner finance, and I happen to be, you know, I could buy it owner finance. I could wholesale it to another investor. I could lease option it to somebody. I could owner finance it to somebody. And, you know, or I could just sell it right out as is. So I got a lot of options, but my most profitable one is to sell via owner finance. And why is because if I'm selling this property, it needs a little bit of work. He wants 170. I could probably sell it owner finance for 220,000 if it's worth 250. I might sell it for 240. So it just depends. So if I sell it for 240 on owner finance, they're going to give me, I'll sell it for 240 and I want a minimum of 10% down. So $240,000 times 10% is $24,000. So they would give me $24,000 and then I would give them $10,000 and then I would keep 14 plus cash flow plus whatever is owed on the back end to me. But so then I'm asking, are there any payments behind, cash for moving, any association fees? I take my notes here, and then down here, I'm asking, do you have any other properties for sale? Yes, no. And if the answer is yes, then I pull out a new sheet and I fill out the new sheet when I'm done with this one, and I go through the same exact questions. So that's the script. It's a great script. It's easy. This one we highlight, we have stars, and the stars mean that you need to answer those questions. Those are important questions. And when it sounds like a good deal, immediately you set an appointment to go look at the property, and you are bringing paperwork to purchase the property, a purchase and sale agreement. You are acting like you want to buy the property. So after you fill all this out, it sounds good. Immediately set an appointment to go see the house. And when I say immediately, you'll want to see that house that same day, the next day. You don't want to wait a week. You want to go as fast as you can, today or tomorrow, one of those 2 days, as fast as humanly possible. Sweet. So now, let's talk about different types of questions and the diagnosis steps. So there's three different types of questions that we're going to ask in the beginning part of the pre-screening. So this is more of connecting with a human, connecting with the human being. And I'll tell you, I got a lot of this from someone that trained me. His name was John Martinez, and fantastic in structuring deals and helping to learn how to connect with people and get the sellers to say yes. Great information. Definitely highly recommended. So number one, there are three types of questions: problem questions, impact or implication questions, and then picture perfect or needs payoff. So let's kind of go inside there. Example of these. So these would be, example of problem questions. Give me 1 second here. So example of problem questions. So what that might look like. What made you decide to talk to me or call me or meet with me? What were you hoping that I might be able to do for you? So to solve their problem. Was there anything specific that you were hoping to talk about? What are the problems? What are the problems in your current situation? What are the challenges? Is there anything that you would like? Is there anything that you think you could do better? How so? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the current home situation right now? And they may be saying, well, it's a 5 because I'm stressed at home because of this house, or, this house is too small for us and we need to come and sell it and we need a bigger place. We just had twins. That was a surprise. And now, the home situation is a challenge. And then inside there, they tell you everything about the property, and you may come and say, well, it sounds like a nice house. Like, why don't you just keep the property? And the reason why we ask, why don't you just keep the property, is because we want to flush out the reasons on why they want to sell to us. Meaning, we thought about keeping it, but again, we just need, we don't want to be a landlord. And we may say, well, why don't you just rent it? Wow, we don't want to be a landlord. We just had 2 twins, or we're moving out of town, or we're moving to another country. I don't want to be a landlord, tenants and toilets. Oh my God, my friends were landlords. I don't want to deal with that. So that's out of there. So that will help to flush that and get that out, where they start to see the value of us buying the property. So those are flushing out the problems that they may have. So those are some examples of what you might do there. Was there anything specific that you were hoping that we talked about? Yes, I was hoping that you can tell me, how you might be able to buy this property. Well, great. We'll definitely be able to talk about that. I was hoping that you might, what were you hoping that I might be able to do for you? I was hoping that, you can buy this property and close quickly. That's question 2. And close quickly. Well, how quick are you looking to close? I want to be out of here in the next 20 days. Well, just out of curiosity, why do you want to be out of here in the next 20 days? Because my next payment is in 20 days and I can't afford it. I don't have the money. My family already moved and I'm trying to sell this property and I miss my family so much. So those are where you start digging deeper to understand what is really going on with them. Hopefully, you're getting all this stuff. So let's talk about examples of impact questions. So examples of impact questions. What is the property costing you physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually? Like, what is that costing you? Man, you'll see, this is where people start to open up, and they open up like a flower. It's like, wow, to be honest, man, this thing is like driving me crazy, especially for like when you get the hard, the people that really want to talk to you, the 30% that need to sell. Oh, this is just stressing me so much. Like, I'm working, my job is an hour away, 2 hours away. And I'm concerned. I can't think at work because, I'm not sure how I'm going to make this payment. And, my credit is already hurting and I'm already 2 payments behind. And, it just is killing me. My wife and I are not like little happy campers, so those are the impacts. And then you start to get serious where they all of a sudden it's not about the money and the dollars and cents. It's more about getting the physical, emotion, mental, financial, and spiritual challenges taken away, giving them freedom. That's what we provide. What is the property costing you when it comes up? What is the property costing you when it comes to your career prospects? Is this having an impact at work? What is the property costing you when it comes to your relationships or other people? Yeah, your relations. Is it costing you anything with And you'll know, like, you'll see these questions and you know which one is like, yeah, I can't focus at work. Wow, you can't focus at work. Now I'm going layer 3 at work, like different layers, like an ogre. Ogre has layers. Yeah, when they make a statement and say, well, I can't think at work. Well, what is that costing you? How's your work doing? Is your quality of work having an effect on that? Well, to be honest, yeah, it is. Even my boss just pulled me to the office the other day. All of a sudden, now we stop for a second as a human being connecting with them. man, don't you feel some empathy to be like, wow, like this person really has a problem. Like, we really need to step in and help them. His boss just pulled him in. He can't think right. He's not working right. His boss pulled him in, wrote him up or something and say, hey, what's up? You got to get your stuff together, man. All because of a house situation. That's where we come in. And when we can connect with a human, it makes it so much deeper. So what is the property costing you when it comes to relationship with others? That's number 3. What is the property costing you in terms of your goals that you would like to achieve? So it's like, well, because sometimes people are like, well, nah, don't worry. I just keep on making the payment. Well, what about the goals you wanted to achieve? Like, well, what do you mean? Like maybe go on a vacation or you have some extra money or not have to deal with the property and all this other stuff. But, if the property, let's say the property is vacant and it's been vacant for 4 months and they're paying $2,000 a month, that's $8,000. How does that affect your financial goals? People don't think about it when they're talking to you. They want to be Mr. Negotiator. It's like, well, that probably puts a damper on your financial goals, I would imagine. You could have taken your family on vacation. An $8,000 vacation is a beautiful vacation for the family versus making payments and continue to make payments. What are you missing out? What are you missing out on as a result of this property? Maybe they're not spending time with their wife, not spending time with the kids, not being able to participate in their church functions or their charity functions or whatever it is. And you start finding that you will hit people's souls like, wow, yes, this does have an effect. Because they always come from the money part, but it has effects in all kinds of other areas. How is the property affecting other people in your lives? Like my kids, they missed their dad because the family moved out. And this is a true scenario. Like they were like, the seller was in the property for 2 extra months waiting for it to be sold. And his family had moved to Georgia. So you haven't seen the family. You're Skyping them. This is somebody, he was like a pit bull negotiator until we got into this part. How's it affecting other people in your family? And he broke down, man, almost started crying over the phone. Why? Because the effect on the other people in his family with his kids, that he missed them so much. When he first got on the phone, he was like, nah, you're not going to take advantage of me. Like, nah, I'm not selling it at a discount. No. I know negotiation 101, 202, and 303. But then all of a sudden we started asking these kinds of questions. How's the property affecting other people? And he melted. And I could relate to it. I love my kids. I don't want to be far away from them. It hurts me to be far away. I'm gone too far. I'm thinking about them. I can't wait to see them. Not seeing them for 2 months, I'm not the same person. So I get it. And I was able to come and help him buy his house. How's the property affecting how you spend your time? Are you able to do the fun things you want to do or not? So all of these things are in the pre-screening. When I say connect with a human, this is what I mean. They'll get out of their own way. Examples of picture perfect questions. What if you already sold the house, moved out, or it was purchased? How would you feel? Oh my God, I feel so relieved. That'd be fantastic. Great. How would you think about yourself and others and your circumstance if the property was sold? Oh man, we would go on vacation. We wouldn't have to keep on making this payment. Oh my God, I could get, I can save my credit. I got one ding, at least it's not five lates, So those, and I get them to talk about it out loud. What decisions would you make? Oh man, I would, get out of this property. I would buy a bigger property, or I would sell the other property, or I would go and invest in something, or I would, go on a trip with the family. What actions would you take? So these are all great questions, and it gets them to really start thinking beyond just give me $170,000 and that's it, Mr. Investor. Now all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I do need that $10,000. I get it. I got to owe the 160, and they may start opening up to getting creative. And look, I could probably buy the house for $170,000, but I'm going to need some of your help. I would like to go see the property. Are you open to possibly doing something a little creative so that we could get these payments behind you? You don't have to worry about them. They'll be made, and you'll also be able to get your $10,000. Does that sound like something that you might be open to having a conversation about? Yes? Great. I'm available either today or tomorrow. Are you available later today? It's right now, let's say it's 1 o'clock. Would you be available maybe after work at like 5 o'clock or before? Well, yeah, I'm home right now. I'm going to be home all day. Great. It's 1 o'clock. How about I be there at 3 o'clock? Perfect. Or if they say, I can be there after work. Great. What time do you think you might be home? You get home at 6. How about I meet you at home at 6:30? Give you a little bit of time to get yourself together there. And great. Or if it's tomorrow, great. What time? But let's set it up for immediately. So in pre-screening, remember, you're going to use the property information script. You're going to go over how you're going to go over the property. You're going to use the script properly by making sure you ask the right questions. Number 3, you're going to connect with a human. You're going to use some of those questions. You're going to ask the proper questions and engage with them. Find out what's going on. Set the appointment. Make the offer. Put it on the contract. That's how we do it. So this was a small tutorial inside there. Hopefully you found a lot of value inside here. This works. It works. It works. So my name is Jason Rodriguez. If you have any questions, please let us know. Reach out to us. You can comment. You can send us emails. You can put a message in the teamwork system. You can just reach out to us any way that you need. We are here for you. I will talk to you later. Hopefully you found massive value. Go out, use the script. You should be using this script and doing hundreds and hundreds of scripts every week. 10, you should be pre-screening more than 10 people a week, 20 people, 30 people, as many as you can, because the more you pre-screen, the more yeses you will get. The more you pre-screen, the more yeses you'll get. Set the appointment to go see the property, bring a contract, and buy the property, put it on the contract. Talk to you later. Jason Rodriguez. Boom. Hey, so we're going to pause for a quick second here. And so I know we got a few people. I'm going to leave it open actually for a second to answer any questions for the deal maker. You have any questions for me? I'd be more than happy to answer any of the questions before we wrap up. Any questions? Anybody? Anybody? I know you like the stuff. It was good, wasn't it? Hey, let's see. I'm going to turn the screen off. Any questions before we wrap it up? Boom, 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 boom. All right. So we are done. Talk to you later.